Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Wednesday. I hope all of you are doing good. This is kind of an impromptu live stream to give you updates on the Hearing Protection Act and Short Act as it pertains to the budget. Well, I reported to you yesterday there may be a bit of hope, maybe a bit of good news, and well, that hope does seem to be dwindling right now as we speak, but this is still not over. See, much like they've been doing all of this, the Congress was voting in the Rules Committee in the middle of the night. And in doing so, on a narrow margin of 7-6, the Senate version of the budget bill did pass, meaning it would stay exactly the same, meaning the Clyde Amendment that we had talked about, which would have put the NFA repeal sections back into the budget bill, those were declined. There were 2 Republicans that voted no. Normally, this is a party line type thing, but in this case, we had 2 Republicans that were standing for the Second Amendment strongly enough that they did actually vote against this passing the Rules Committee. I do want to give a shout out to those 2 congressmen, Chip Roy and Ralph Norman. Now, it was the Clyde Amendment, but Clyde doesn't sit on that committee, so he didn't get a vote. So with the Republican majority, they were able to barely eke that through in the middle of the night. So where do we stand right now? Let me cut right to the chase and shout out to the replay crew, because I know some of you are watching on replay, but this is a live stream, so I'm going to try to report the breaking news first for those of you that need it summed up in a few minutes, and then I'm definitely going to read the live chat and hang out with you guys for a little while, and then I have to go back to mowing lawns again. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go watch my video I put up yesterday. But the Clyde Amendment was a last-ditch effort. See, the Senate had passed this budget bill with removing the language that would have repealed silencers, otherwise known as suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, and any other weapons. They had repealed removing them from the NFA, but they did take the tax down to 0. Now, a lot of people are looking at this as a big win, saying, look, 0 tax is better than $200 tax. Go back and watch my previous videos. I've made my points very clear. I don't consider this a win. I actually consider it a loss because I think it's going to normalize registration, and the registry is the key devil here. Now, the $200 is also completely an infringement, and that also needs to go. However, most of my viewers have said, and look, if you had to pick, now look, you guys want it all to go away, but most of you have told me if you had to pick, you'd pay $200 to prevent yourself from having to be registered and go through all of this stuff. So look, guys, the door hasn't been completely closed yet. This is ongoing. But as of right now, the complete Senate version, which had stripped out the NFA repeal, but zeroed the tax down to 0, that is the version that the House is trying to shove through with immense, and let me emphasize this again, immense pressure from President Trump that he's demanding that they cram this through right now, today. The House floor is open for voting. We'll pull that up in 1 second. And he wants to sign this on July 4th. That seems to be the only thing he's worried about. And you guys can chime in and tell me what you think. I know much of my viewers are MAGA. Shout out to all of you. Look, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, which sometimes makes it where you guys can relate to me. Sometimes you guys don't like me because I don't like Team Red. I'm certainly not Team Blue. I'm not even close to a Democrat, but I'm not a Republican either. But I will say this, the Trump agenda that a lot of people voted for, much of that's been stripped out. Not just the Hearing Protection Act portions, but much of it is. And this bill has tons of extra spending in it, keeping much of the new Green Deal alive. There's all these things that, in my opinion, I'm just going to throw it out there, many Trump supporters should be opposed to this bill in the Senate form, actually, because it goes against much of the Trump agenda. All right, back to the Second Amendment things, because that's what this channel is for. So the Clyde Amendment has failed. As of right now, they're trying to cram through the Senate version exactly as it was written. Here's the thing, though. The rhinos, the Republican rhinos, they messed up. We're in the midst of a snafu right now. We also have Thomas Massey and others, Chip Roy. I'll name a few of them in a minute. that are literally standing up for principles. Now, Massey's is going to be based on spending, while he's also a big staunch 2A supporter. But we do have some reps that are holding out as we speak based on the Clyde Amendment not passing, based on, in other words, they want to add back in the language to completely repeal the NFA. Some of you guys are thinking, how much hope do we have? Let me be blatantly honest with you, not much. If I had to guess, this will probably pass exactly as written in the Senate today. There is a major snafu, a major screw up procedurally that the Republicans did just a couple hours ago. They're trying to fix that right now, and the fix isn't gridlock. However, I need to be honest the way I'm reporting this. The door has not been completely closed. The fat lady ain't saying yet. There is still time that this could not pass the House. That's our only chance right now. Massey says he has a coalition of 10 people that are against the bill. I doubt that. I think a lot of them will defect after they get promises made to them in the old back room. However, as one by one, we see the holdouts joining on board. We really only need a few. There's a very, very narrow Republican majority in the House, all Democrats voting no. I'd like to thank viewer Trenton for just sending me this update. He's been helping me behind the scenes with stuff. This is what he sent me, and I have confirmed this. Procedural snafu. So right now, in other words, they're trying to just cram this so-called one big beautiful bill through right now. They wanted it passed like by now, like today. They've been slowed down. Procedural snafu. Screwed up on their own big beautiful language. Rhino leaders first needed to fix their own mistake in the rule that left out the customary language ordering the previous question on the bill, which Rules Committee Chairwoman Virginia Fox, Republican of North Carolina, offered an amendment to fix. Let me share my screen and show you guys where we're at right now. So for all of you just joining, welcome. The Clyde Amendment was voted down in committee. They're trying to cram this bill through as passed in the Senate, which would reduce the tax down to 0. However, it would still keep them on the NFA. That's where we're at. Here's what's going on right now. There's 435 members in the United States House of Representatives. So obviously, you have to have 218 to be able to pass a bill. This is live right now. I'm sharing my screen from the House floor. You're not hearing any audio because they don't have much to say. So this is the Fox Amendment. So they basically screwed up and forgot to put in their customary language ordering the previous question. Now, I know that's really weird. What's up, the Court of Public Opinion? I just shouted you out for sending me this breaking news on the procedural snafu. This sounds so stupid, but they have to go through this. It's all customary where they have to say ordering the previous question on the bill. They forgot to do that. Now they're trying to do that right now. This has been sitting in stasis for hours. They stopped debating on this several hours ago. I was waiting to give you guys a final update, but I thought I better just jump on live now because this is just going to sit here. Now, if you go back about an hour and a half ago, look, guys, I'm not going to be able to go too long on this live stream. I do have to go mow lawns, but I've been sitting here watching this, just waiting to report some news to you all. And these people are so screwed up right now. This could sit like this for who knows how long. An hour and a half ago. Now, look, there was a time. Let me back up. See how it says time remaining 0? It was a 5-minute vote. We did have a Democrat. Does anyone remember Nagise? Like a month ago, we did live streams showing the original House committee debates, and we called him Obama Jr. Representative Nagise did get up there and make a parliamentary inquiry, trying to say since the clock had run out, and reportedly a lot of Republicans, but you can see the chamber's basically empty and left at that point. Can they keep the clock open? The chair presiding over the U.S. House did come back and say, yeah, they can keep the clock open on a bill as long as they want. So it's always this never-ending goalpost. There's a 5-minute clock put on, but it ran down to 0, and it's been at 0, sitting at 0 for hours. If you go back just even an hour and a half ago, the vote was 211 yays to 212 nays. So in the past hour and a half, 5 Republicans have voted on this. Now, keep in mind, this is this procedural hurdle that they screwed up on, okay? There's lots of pressure. I mean, you're talking about Trump's literally ending people's careers right now, Republicans' careers. Republican Senator Tom Tillis is now retiring. Anybody who's standing up against this bill, whether it's to do with tax reasons, whether it's to do with the new Green Deal reasons, whether it's to do with the Second Amendment, which we do have some good 2A reps right now holding out on this because of the 2A. You've got Chip Roy chiming in on the 2A. You've got Ralph Norman. You've got Andrew Clyde. Look, Trump's literally threatening to bury these people. Now, some of you are going to be very happy with Trump that he's doing that. I've been on X all day. Make sure you're following the 2A EDU X channel, by the way. And, dude, it's totally split. It's crazy out there. Half the people are like, Massey needs to get fired. You know, we need to fire Chip Roy. We need to fire Lauren Boebert, Congressman Ogles, all these people who are holding out right now because these are our hardcore 2A supporters. Trump's wanting to end their career. Now, this is weird, though, because I don't think it's that Trump's wanting to do it because they want the Hearing Protection Act passed, because on the White House's website itself, this is where this is crazy, guys, and all of this is just pissing me the hell off. If I can be blunt with you, I'm sick and tired of all these people. Now, there's some good ones. I'll name them. You know, there's a few here and there, but collectively, I'm sick of every last one of these SOBs. I can't stand this red versus blue false dichotomy. I'm sick and tired of seeing all my friends at war with each other over this. I'm on team R and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting there being like, you know, screw all of y'all. That's basically where I'm at right now, except for my hardcore absolutist 2A supporters. That's just where I'm at with all this. This is 2A or bust for me. I'm a single issue voter. It's all a bunch of crap, but we do need this NFA repealed. Now, Trump put a top agenda of things that he was demanding that were passed through this so-called one big beautiful bill, and he put the NFA repeal and the Second Amendment items up on the top of his list. Why J.D. Vance came in the other night to break the tie in the Senate, but not overrule the parliamentarian, you guys can all guess all day long. J.D. Vance had a chance to shine. He dimmed right out on the 2A. He didn't do it, all right? So here's our options. We're sitting here right now still in stasis. The clock's been run out for 2 hours on this procedural hurdle, snafu from the Republicans. And, yeah, look at it. 216 to 212. They need 2 more of those non-voting to turn into a yay vote so they can pass this procedure. All right, I'm going to minimize this because this hasn't changed in hours, and it likely won't change for hours. Some of you are like, well, where's our hope? Where's a path to victory here with repealing the NFA? One more time, that path is slim. I'm not a betting man. If I were a betting man, however, I would not bet large sums of money that this is going to go through. It's not looking good. We're down to the wire. We've got no ace left in the hole. It's the bottom of the ninth. 2 outs, 2 strikes. We're down by about 3 runs. The bases are empty, and our worst hitter's up to bat. That's the odds if you wanted to put it into a sports analogy. And I used to watch baseball a lot before it went so woke. However, this is the procedural vote that has to go through. And here's where there's this much optimism left. Okay? Guys, I think we're getting screwed, all right? There's this much optimism left, and I'm just trying to report this straight, guys. I'm trying to give you guys the steel man. I'm going to give you all my opinions I can, and I have been already today. But I'm going to try to shoot the news to you straight because some of you want to know what's the odds. There's still a chance, and here's why. There's still a chance, not much of one, almost none, okay? Almost none, but it's not a literal zero yet because they can't even get past this procedural hurdle right now. Then it's going to go into a final vote. Thomas Massey claims. Now, I'm not saying we can trust everything he's saying. I think he's a pretty honest guy, one of the most honest guys in Washington, D.C., actually, but he has no control over his colleagues. He claims he has a coalition right now of 10 that are going to vote no on it, 10 Republicans. If the bill does not pass the House, here's what happens. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board. Because if it doesn't pass the House, they're going to have to go back and come up with something, reschedule committee hearings, and they're going to have to change enough things to get the Republican holdouts on board. Now, the only reason why this could go to President Trump's desk today would be if this passes the House the way it's submitted right now, which is exactly word for word, comma for comma, period for period, the same exact language as the Senate bill. And when I say that, this matters because semantics matter, procedures matter. As we speak, this is being held up because they left like 3 or 4 words out of the original vote earlier. And since they did, they're having to have this whole nother procedural hurdle. So let me get this straight. Right now, the Senate has passed where, as far as the NFA items go, there's a $0 tax, but they will not be repealed. Okay, just to bring you all up to speed. If the House were to literally change, which Representative Clyde put an amendment to try to change that and put back the actual Short Act, the actual Hearing Protection Act, repealing these items from the NFA as well, that's the win. That's what we want. That's what I want. The other one, in my opinion, is not a win. Now, I will have contrarian viewers saying, but it could be so much worse, 2A. Yeah, of course it could be worse. Duh. And it probably will get worse in the future if this tax stays at 0 when they come back and make it a $5,000 tax when the Democrats are in charge. Dude, of course things can always get worse. But just because something could be worse doesn't mean that this still is a loss. There's worse losses you can have, sure, but a loss is a loss and a win's a win. And I'm not milquetoast on an amendment that says shall not be infringed. I'm sorry. It's either this or it's that. And you have to put this kind of pressure on these people. People are like, oh, well, you're going all or nothing to a EDU. Well, heck yeah. The Second Amendment says the right to keep and bear arms, it shall not be infringed. That's pretty all or nothing, actually. So for all the people that don't like me being all or nothing, you probably hate the Founding Fathers, who were literally all or nothing, because they didn't have the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, comma, but a tax is acceptable, comma, but if it's for this, comma, but. There was no comma, but at the end. That's where I'm at with this. And look, some people like guys like me, some people don't. Shout out to all of you that do. And you know what? I'm trying to stay in a good mood today. Shout out to all of you who don't. But this is what it looks like to advocate for. We need a win for once. And I'm tired of compromise. I don't care how many gun rights groups are willing to write a letter saying they'll settle for a compromise. I don't really care about any of this crap. Because this is the Second Amendment, and it says shall not be infringed. That's where I'm at with this. Now, the Clyde Amendment did get voted down. If the House were to change one period or one comma in the bill, if they were to add one extra space in it, that would not be identical to the version passed by the Senate. The way this works is both chambers of Congress do have to agree. You know what I mean? They have to agree 100%. So the only way is if this fails to pass the House, it'll have to get sent back to the Senate. The House will have to rework it. That's our only chance of this Clyde Amendment getting put in. Thank you, CJ. I saw that out of the corner of my eye there. And I appreciate the new sub because I probably just lost a few subs. I've had some people heckling me pretty good during the last week, being like, why are you so hard line on the 2A? You can't do this all or nothing thing. I'm like, bull crap. It's my channel. I'll say what I want. And by the way, I'm not a super smart man. I just like to follow the advice of the Founding Fathers who were smart, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And that's what I'm going with. I'm going to continue to go with it, actually. So we're sitting here. We're sitting here right now. We're still sitting there in stasis. I'll give you guys a quick update. This is this procedural vote where there was a snafu. The Republicans had left out their own language. This is literally a mistake. Okay, they did not do this on purpose. Let me show you where we're at right now. You can't even make this crap up. Okay. All right, let's go back here. I mean, it's still sitting here 216 to 212. This procedural hurdle needs 218 votes. Then we can get to the final vote. We're not going to have an answer in the next couple hours, guys. You might see me back on here later this evening at midnight, all right, giving you guys more updates. I just want to tell you where we're at right now. Clyde Amendment's out. They screwed up big time. They forgot to put in the language ordering the previous question on the bill. And we're just sitting here thinking, hold on a minute. We just want our Second Amendment back. But this is how it works. This is why it's called the swamp. There are some Republicans. I just literally heard Tim Burchett. He's a congressman a lot of you like. I believe he's from the great state of Tennessee, right? I just saw an interview with him moments ago standing outside of the Capitol building. And he said, look, man, there's tons of pressure right now. The president saying this has to be passed no matter what on his desk by July 4th, do or die. And they asked him, they said, well, what if he says, dude, I don't care if it's July 40th. But then he also brought up something that's true right now. These Congress critters, they've all planned family vacations. All right. For the 4th of July, for Independence Day, they have their travel plans. They want to sit there and eat their corn on their cob. Depending what they're into, their watermelons, whatever they're into, they want to do all of that on July 4th, right? Well, they're basically saying, yeah, we'll hold all of you hostage and won't let you go home until you pass this. These are techniques they use. They've done it on the Michigan level, as I've shown you in the past. They're doing it right now. But he was standing right there with Ralph Norman outside the Capitol, and I loved it when he said that. He goes, I don't care if it's July 40th. No. We need to go through and do our thing. And many of these House Republicans are rejecting the Senate parliamentarian. They're rejecting Senate Majority Leader Thune's prerogative to allow the parliamentarian's decisions to stand. See, the parliamentarian, legally speaking, only passes suggestions. It's only holding the force of law where we're ruled under this parliamentarian, which is like so ironic, right? Because Thune's letting them do it. And J.D. Vance didn't stop him either. I know some of you like J.D. Vance. Some of you don't. I'm just reporting the news right now. A lot of this is opinion, but I'll tell you when look, J.D. Vance did not stop it, and he could have. Thune didn't stop it, and he could have. But it's real ironic that we're still getting ruled over by a parliamentarian 2 days before Independence Day, where we declared our independence from the King of England and said, no, here in America, we're not going to be ruled by Parliament. We're going to have a republic if you can keep it, is what Ben Franklin said. And these are the things that try to keep me encouraged about being an American. But I'm not encouraged when I see a parliamentarian literally ruling over us right now. And as of right now, since the Clyde Amendment was voted down last night in the House committee, we still live underneath a good possibility of, I should say, being ruled by the parliamentarian once again, which stripped out the NFA repeal provisions and instead allowed, and that's how it was worded too, she allowed us to have the $0 tax stamp. Now, there is arguments that if it's a $0 tax stamp, how could that hold up in court? How could you register a tax? Because the Supreme Court decided in 1937 that the NFA was not actually gun control. That's what they said. It was a tax. And Congress does have the ability to levy taxes. And the only reason the registry and fingerprinting and mugshot and all of that exists at all is to make sure that you paid the tax. So if it's a $0 tax, what's the purpose of registration? That may be a good legal argument. It may actually be, but here's the problem. The way these courts are nowadays, can you trust these? We had Neil Gorsuch in the conservative Supreme Court rule against the Second Amendment recently, using this weird, bizarre language of an artifact noun. This had to do with privately made firearms, and he likened it to just because you have a box of parts, it's still a gun, because just because you bought a table at IKEA. Do you guys remember this? This is the same courts that everyone's like, oh, the court will bail us out tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe, but probably not. He said, if you had a table you bought at IKEA, this is what the Supreme Court majority just said like 2 months ago. So for everyone that's like, oh, we'll win this in court tomorrow with $0 tax stamp. No, you ain't going to win nothing tomorrow. You may never win anything in court. You may, but you may not. Because he said if you have an IKEA table that's just a box of parts, you would, in common parlance to your friend, you would use the common phrase artifact noun, he said, which no one's ever used in real life. And therefore you would say, there's my IKEA table I purchased, even though at that point it was only a box of parts. He said, therefore, a box of parts that could later be built into a gun, that's still considered a gun. And it was actually a blow to privately made firearms and overturning the draconian Biden era. We call him the former vice president to try to overturn his ban. The courts are a funny animal. There's tons of activist liberal judges all over this country. The Supreme Court's a strange bird. So I just wanted to throw it out there because that's the number one comeback people are saying. But this will be an instant win in court if we just have the tax down to zero. Maybe it'll be a win eventually, maybe not, but I guarantee it won't be instant. And I have always said, and I'll keep saying this, You want legislative wins where you can get them. Congress is actually supposed to make law. And if there's an unconstitutional, unjust law, Congress is supposed to repeal that law. We're not supposed to have activist judges making laws from the bench. I get it. We cheer it on when there's a big Supreme Court victory. And that's awesome when there's a big Supreme Court victory, obviously. But you are supposed to have Congress repeal laws. That's a lot more of a bona fide solution than a court ruling, actually. So this is our chance right now. If, and the chances are very, very slim, if enough Republicans continue to hold out, then it's still an uphill battle. It would have to not pass the House today. That's the first thing that would be important. Second of all, if it doesn't pass the House today and they have to go back to the old drawing board, then you'd have to have another committee vote. In theory, this is all theoretical because they're still insisting they're going to try to pass this today with the $0 tax, therefore the loss for the Second Amendment. And then you'd have to vote again on, I guess Clyde could put the amendment forth again. You'd have to vote on it again. It did fail last time, but the Clyde Amendment did actually pass through all the procedures, including the House committee. When the House passed the bill, H.R. 1, which included removing just the silencer suppressors from the NFA. Then the Senate added in the Short Act. Clyde attempted to add all of it back in, including the Short Act last night. He was voted down, with 2 Republicans voting against the passing the bill through. So when I say they voted against, that meant they were actually voting for the Clyde Amendment. And that would be Norman and Roy. Chip Roy and Ralph Norman voted against passing the bill onto the main floor because they had already nuked the Clyde Amendment out. Does that make sense? So sometimes voting against the bill means you're actually voting for something, in this case, the Second Amendment. That sums up where we're at right now. I'm going to check some updates for you all. Excuse me. And I am going to read a couple super chats that came in, which I do appreciate. Marco Polo with a super chat and a channel member. Thanks, Marco. He says, thanks for the updates. Well, you're welcome. Anton Stigan just became a YouTube channel member. Well, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it, man. And if you go over to the members tab on the post page, there is some extra bonus content for you on there. Pork Chop Express with a super chat. Thank you, Pork Chop. I appreciate it. Says, I'm imagining the Dems would be screaming if the parliamentarian had been Republican appointed. Thune is a buffoon, and there shouldn't be a parliamentarian under any circumstances anyway. Dude, I totally agree with you. Dude, not only would they be screaming, but trust me, if there was a Republican parliamentarian, because keep in mind the current one was appointed under Democrat Senator Harry Reid under the Obama administration. Dude, if there was a Republican parliamentarian and the Dems had a trifecta right now, look out. No, because here's the crazy part. The Dems actually do follow through with their agenda. Oh, yeah. Especially when their agenda is hell-bent to ruin this country. They follow through it more than you've ever seen before. They would have fired a Republican parliamentarian that ruled against them faster than you could even blink. They would have said, oh, the parliamentarian rules again. The parliamentarian wouldn't even be able to finish the word against, and they would have already been fired and or overruled that quickly. That's my opinion. And yeah, we'll see what happens. And if they don't watch it, the Dems are going to end up with a majority in Congress, because I just see so many people saying they're done, dude. They're just done. They're either not going to vote at all. Some people are saying they're going to go third party. I've even had a few viewers tell me they're going to switch to Democrat. They said, dude, I'm just tired of losing. I'm going to switch to Democrat. I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Hustle Bones, who's blaming the Dems? Are you blaming the Dems? Look, you're obviously new to the channel. Welcome. Hopefully you enjoy the channel. This channel's called out these Republicans more than anybody. And if you've been listening for even 5 minutes, I mean, you know what I'm saying. You may have just been a Johnny come lately to this channel, but I'm not. So I don't know if you're talking to me or someone else. But look, dude, I've called out. Look, man, I'm not trying to give you too hard of a time. Hopefully we can still be friends, all right? Do you know how many viewers I pissed off by calling out Republicans? So I ain't the one, man. And maybe you're not even talking to me. But trust me, dude. I'm so frustrated right now with the Republicans sitting there with the trifecta. And here's the thing, man, to all my Republican friends and all my MAGA friends out there. Okay, some people in here. All right, we're good at Hustle Bones. You know what I'm saying? It's just I thought maybe you were new here and didn't know my stance. No, dude, I'm just a 2A absolutist, period. I'm very disenchanted with all these political parties right now. I'm disenchanted with the whole system. It's really pissing me off. That's where I'm at. But look, for all my MAGA friends out there, this Senate version literally guts so many provisions of the Trump agenda for this budget bill. So I don't know how anybody's happy with this. Like, who the heck is happy with this except for these rhinos in the Senate? Think about this for a minute. If you're a Democrat, you're against this bill no matter what, right? Okay. If you're just a pro 2A absolutist single issue voter, that's what that means. That means that's the only reason you vote is for the topic that you're most passionate about. For me, it happens to be the Second Amendment. Some of you may be single issue voters on a number of things. All right. For me, it's the Second Amendment. That's why I vote based on people's track record for that. Now, there can be other things they're doing that I really like, and that's great. But if they go against the Second Amendment, it doesn't matter how much else they did I like. I'm still done. I'm still out. So, Second Amendment absolutist single issue voters should be against this bill right now. All Democrats are against this bill. So who's for it? Maybe the establishment Republicans are for it. The MAGA crowd, the people that love Trump and everything that he campaigned on, they should be against this too. Because this goes against and guts out and waters down many, many things that Trump campaigned on and promised. So those people should be disappointed. I guess the only ones that are happy are the people that do like to cope. They say, well, it's a little less worse. If this does, and then they fall for all the fear tactics, and I don't want any of you to be afraid. I'm sick and tired of us being afraid. Because look, when the people fear the government, that's tyranny. But when the government fears the people, then there's liberty. And it sucks that so many people are afraid of the government. And they're fear-mongering over this, saying, if we don't pass this bill, your taxes will go up 68%. Well, if you're a millionaire, I'm sure your taxes will go up a lot. How many millionaires do we even have in this chat right now, by the way? Look, some of these Trump tax cuts, making them permanent, the ones that have been and helped me, which is a very small business actually too. Like my taxes aren't going to go up 68% regardless. I'm not a millionaire. That's why I threw that out there. But no, even for a very small business. Look, this business I run is so small, like I'm the only one. And my lovely wife, she does help out and cuts one of our biggest lawn account every week. So look, this is the epitome of a small business you're looking at right here. I'm in the landscaping business. And there are items that can be itemized and tax deductions that do help the small guy. Sure, no doubt. But the Senate version screwed up so much of the Trump agenda in this. I don't even know how anybody's happy about where this sits right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, the Second Amendment, look, I love the whole Bill of Rights, all of it, obviously. That's what America should be. America should be the Constitution as guided by the Declaration of Independence. Very important document. That's why I like to read it on this channel often. And then the Bill of Rights. That's what this country is literally supposed to be. The way this is now, it's not even hardly recognizable anymore. They passed this omnibus bill. I had pulled out the Clyde Amendment to show all of you because I didn't realize they were going to be able to vote it down this fast. But I mean, this was it right here. And this was as of last night, the current version of the bill. And then in the middle of the night, they nixed this part of it. But this is on page 491, continuing into 492, right? This was the Clyde Amendment that would have gone back and actually repealed the silencer / suppressor, the short barrel rifle, the short barreled shotgun, any other weapon. It would have removed them completely from the National Firearms Act, getting rid of all of the required provisions thereof pursuant to the NFA. All that would have been left on the NFA if this amendment hadn't been voted down last night if the bill were to pass, then we would just be with the destructive device and the machine gun. No, I reject those. And then that's the other thing that people kind of get wrong with this too. And let me know in the chat or on replay in the comments if you're with me on this. But 2A EDU, you're so absolutist. We have to take this one bite at a time. Yeah, you can be an absolutist and still realize we have to take this one bite at a time, because here's the kicker. This $0 tax, that's not the compromise I'm going to take. That's a loss, in my opinion. The compromise that we were going to take as a win was they were removing 3/5 of the NFA. Because what I really demand is repeal the whole NFA. There shouldn't be a tax stamp for a machine gun, and there shouldn't be a tax stamp for a destructive device either. Yeah, I just said it. Yes, there's nothing wrong with the good people of America that don't wear a badge, that aren't part of the government or law enforcement, and their civilian capacity. There's not only nothing wrong with, but a well-regulated militia is necessary to the security of a free state. So of course that includes all of us owning unregistered and unrestricted machine guns. Of course that means we could own a bazooka. Of course a grenade. Like, obviously, that's literally why the founding fathers put the Second Amendment there. Not to grant us our rights, because these are rights that are endowed by our Creator. That's what the Declaration of Independence says. These are the laws of nature. And if nature's God, Thomas Jefferson so eloquently wrote when he was 35 years old on July 4th, 1776. You know what? Sometimes it's good just to separate the wheat from the chaff. And I'm sick and tired of all these FUDs and milquetoast fence setters being like, well, 2A EDU, you can't be so all or nothing. Bull crap. Yes, I can. And yes, I will. Because here's the thing. The all or nothing was we need all of this to pass, or we don't even want this stupid bloated bill to pass, right? Because we were already saying, look, we'll actually take this as a win to repeal 3/5 of the NFA, but really all of it should be repealed. That was already the furthest compromise, the best scenario we could get right now. To compromise further is no longer a compromise that I can consider a win whatsoever. And yeah, it may make great court precedent later on. The Supreme Court may come in and save us all. But if they do, that's going to be years from now. And they might not. And actually, the Trump administration with the DOJ could do some procedural things to maybe bail us out right now, too. If it's a $0 tax stamp, trust me. I know there's options on the table. I know all of it. But until these votes are done, we still need to pressure. If there's any time left, there might be. We'll find out by the time the day's over, to try to get these Congress critters to get this back in there. Now, I'm not saying they will do it. I'm not giving you guys false hope. For those of you that are saying, dude, don't you get it yet? It's all rigged against us. Of course I get it. Of course I know it's all rigged against us. I mean, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you all if I didn't. But I'm going to go back to the Founding Fathers again. They did exhaust all political means. They exhausted all peaceful means. See? May 1775, shot heard around the world. Massachusetts, right? Concord Bridge, Lexington Green. People think that just they woke up one day and they were happy. The next day they were pissed off and the Revolutionary War started. No, actually the Founding Fathers had been exhausting all the proper procedures. Petitioning the king with letters of redress for grievance. They went through it properly. And at a certain point, they realized, you know what? Enough's enough. The American people are on our side. God's on our side. And that's why it literally refers to with the divine providence. That's right there at the end of the Declaration of Independence. Before those brave men signed that declaration, which was a death sentence if they would have lost. And that's why I sit here today with all the bravery and things that have happened in this country's past and just the founding of this country. And I'm like, and when we sit here and we're ruled by a parliamentarian in the Senate, and sure, we need to call that out because that's more than ironic that there's someone with the title of parliamentarian ruling over us. But we can't just blame the parliamentarian. We also have to blame the Senate Majority Leader. We also have to blame J.D. Vance. And then ultimately, if we want to really be fair, we have to blame ourselves. I mean, we really do. Look, I'm not blaming any of you guys. I'll blame myself. I've been here advocating for the Second Amendment as hard as I possibly could for years now. Obviously, I'm not doing a good enough job. So I don't want to point blame to any of you in particular, so I'll just blame myself and blame we the people collectively too. We need to do that. Let's see where this vote is right now. This is the procedure vote. This is going to sit here for hours in stasis. And I've been sitting here just thinking, what's going on? What's going on? I just need some updates. I need to know what's going on. And I thought there might be some people that need to know what's going on too. I'm not sure exactly how many people are watching right now because I'm looking over on this other screen, but it's good to have you all here. And shout out to whoever's still watching on replay. We're probably going to have to come back for another update later. Wow, there's 300 people watching. Nice. Nice to see all of you. Welcome to the channel if you're new, you know. Dude, we do happy upbeat videos on this channel when we can too. You know, we really do. It's just right now, this is a you-know-what show. And I do these streams because I'm just sitting here by myself in my shop. Now, the lawnmower is right outside the door, and I am going to have to jump off in a few minutes to get back to cutting grass. But you may see me again this evening. And I'm just sitting here alone right now, just going, you know, they voted down the Clyde Amendment. They're saying with all this pressure from the president, they have to literally cram this through today, which is the exact identical Senate version, is ruled by the parliamentarian, reducing the tax to zero. However, not repealing these items from the NFA. And here we are. We're still looking at this. I mean, this is literally the Republicans that forgot to left. Well, they either forgot or this was some kind of 3D chess. Look, I don't believe anything anymore, but we'll just take it as its face value. It appears they forgot to add in the customary language of ordering the previous question to the bill. So now Fox, if you remember her, she's the elderly lady that runs the Rules Committee. She had to come back and put in an amendment to agree to the amendment. Now look, think about this. The supreme law of the land says shall not be infringed, which means the government, that's literally telling the government, don't tread on our gun rights. Shall not be infringed, don't tread on me. And that's the law of the land. And there shouldn't have to be a 2A EDU channel, and we shouldn't even have to be here right now. I'm only glad we're here right now insofar as I get to hang out with some actually awesome real people, because it gets like super depressing looking at these robots, these stooges, these whatever most of these people are in Congress. These people are evil and they make me sick. As a whole, with very few exceptions, collectively, these people make me sick. And I'm like sitting here looking at this and I'm like, okay, so hold on a minute. Here in America, the parliamentarian just screwed us over in the Senate because the Republican leadership let her. Don't forget that. And now read what's on the screen here and tell me if that even makes sense. Right now, they've been sitting here for hours. Fox of North Carolina, amendment on agreeing to the amendment. We literally are so convoluted, we have to have a vote, and we have to have an amendment that's agreeing to the amendment. I mean, can you guys see that on your screen? What's this mean? It means our country's so screwed up right now that these formalities and all of this agenda and all of this spending has clearly taken precedent over the actual Constitution, over regular Americans, people just like you and just like me. This proves that. Will somebody please wake me up or like pour some water on me? I'm literally sitting here reading this. Fox of North Carolina, amendment on agreeing to the amendment. Dude, what's that even mean? I can't stand politics, but with that said, because I'm so passionate about the Second Amendment, I've become quite the political insider. I know more than half of the Michigan senators and Michigan representatives. I've talked to them more hours than I can count. I've had to give advice to current sitting legislators in the state of Michigan on how these procedures actually work in the past and give them updates they didn't even know about. That's how much I've literally like tortured myself and tried to keep from going insane to try to fight for the 2A. And with all that said, I don't even know what this means. How the heck is anybody supposed to actually understand what the heck is truly going on when I've been dedicating myself as this is my life passion and I still don't understand half of it? Nobody understands half of it. You had Congressman Burchett out there and he's like, dude, I don't know what the heck's going on. It's July 4th. I don't care if it's July 40th. There's sitting congressmen that have done interviews today saying they have no idea what's truly going on. They need 2 more votes for the Fox Amendment on agreeing to the amendment. Oh, man. You guys know what I mean, right? 2 more votes have to come through for the Fox Amendment agreeing to the amendment. Now, Thomas Massey's been talking real recently within the last hour, and he says, look, just because some of my colleagues are voting on this amendment does not mean they're going to vote for the final bill. You can still call your reps right now, just so you know. I'm just saying, like some of you are like, dude, I'm done calling. I'm black-pilled. Dude, I get it, man. Try to keep your chin up. But for those of you still calling, look, we do have the right to petition our government for a redress of grievance. First Amendment's still very important, too. You can still call them right this minute. The Congressional Black Caucus just had a big powwow out in the Capitol lawn a little bit ago. They were out there. The Congressional Black Women's Caucus. Let me back up here. The Congressional Black Women's Caucus just had a big old powwow on the Capitol steps. They're out there rallying their base. I thought I heard out of the corner of my ear the ones like, make Jerry curl great again. Beeswax discounts for everyone. But look, they're pushing their agenda. There's still time to call. I do like bees, actually. I know that sounded a bit snarky when I said make beeswax and Dapperdine and Jerry curl great again. No, I do like bees. Bees are nice little pollinators and honey. But, you know, they're out there right now. I just want to put this into perspective. Literally, as we speak, they're out there in this big press conference. What's happening, man? A government which has not trusted citizens to be armed is not itself to be trusted. Ooh, Machiavelli, the prince. Good one, man. I like some of my anime guys on here, actually, dude. Some of you guys are over following me on X and here in the chat. Dude, dude, there's this younger generation of guys right now, and some of you might not be young at all. Maybe I'm just behind the times. And it's something that, like, dude, I'm like the type of guy, I'm out there listening to my country music. I'm a good old boy. I'm a bit of a hick working under the truck and stuff. But no, dude, like all these people that are like totally different hobbies than me, we're all getting together on the 2A. Like, dude, I'm watching these younger guys, right? You know, and they're into their anime. They're into this whole, I don't even know what to classify you guys as. But, dude, they're like buck as hell. This is like the new punk rock. And you guys know what I'm saying, right? I'm watching all kinds of people getting together on the Second Amendment right now. What's up, Ron? How you doing, man? Make sure I get some shorts from this, some clips. Hey, Ron's the one that's been helping the channel with these recent YouTube shorts we've been posting. He has some super duper software to help pull those out of there. So if you guys like the shorts, thank him and let me know if you want me to keep them coming. Little excerpts from these live streams. Martin Edgar with a super chat and a channel member. Thanks, man. He says, why should the 2A community compromise at all? We have compromised our rights to near non-existence already. Time for us to stand our ground and take it all back. Yeah, that's where I'm at, dude. Like, this was actually technically this was a compromise to have the Clyde Amendment pass and repeal 3/5 of the NFA. But no, we're taught to believe. And here's what's really kind of getting on my nerves, saying the real win we wanted was repealing these items from the NFA. However, it's still going to be considered a win if we just get the tax stamp down to 0, said most of the prominent gun rights groups. What? Excuse me? Hey, man, some of these people file good lawsuits. Don't get me wrong. They do file some really good lawsuits, but they need to get their messaging better. I saw out of the corner of my eye, somebody said 2A EDU for parliamentarian. Thanks for making me laugh. 2A EDU for Senate parliament. No, that is funny. No, you're never going to see me in politics, guys. I run from it. I mean, I purposely like dive into it to try to fight for the 2A. But it's weird, man. Like, with very few exceptions, going into politics and going into these back rooms in the swamp, whether it's on the state level, because I've seen it so often in the state of Michigan, all right? And especially in Washington, D.C., it changes a man. It does. Dude, I've met people that were out on the front lawn of the Capitol, okay? They were cutting hair. They were literally rabble rousing with the best of us. And now they've been in office just a couple years. And in many respects, they're starting to become a bit of a stiff now, if you know what I'm saying. Now, it changes almost everybody. It's very, very toxic. It's very, very evil. And the devil's very, very persuasive in his tactics, actually. Dude, there's very, very few exceptions. I would say I probably talked to my state representative, Jamie Thompson. She's my favorite for many reasons. I'd say if you average out, I probably talk to her on the phone about once a week. It's very important that me and her talk. And I do know her family, and she has excellent family support. And that's the most important part, obviously. My importance is like 1/100% compared to her family. But no, it's good that constituents, you got to actually keep talking. If you have a good rep on the state level, okay, senator, maybe even on the federal level, you need to talk to them and just keep talking to them and let them know that, like, dude, just stay a normal person. We got your back. And Jamie's done an excellent job at that. She just voted against a bill that it's now. I'm going to go off on a teeny tangent, but this is germane to all of this, trying to show all of you to stay involved. There was a bill that just passed the Republican-controlled House where if they suspect you of being on any medications. Now, look, I don't do drugs at all, guys. I'm not even on any prescriptions. I don't smoke anything like that. I just don't do it. But a lot of my friends do. That's a whole nother topic. My point is I do nothing. They can swab me all day, but now they have this and they wouldn't get anything, but they're not allowed to swab me because I have the right to privacy. They just passed this bill where police can swab you under just this reasonable suspicion or probable cause or whatever on the side of the road before you're arrested. They can swab you to test you. Now, almost every Republican voted for this, and Jamie stood up and voted against it. I hope she's still going to be okay, but that's not very popular within the caucus. She could get repercussions for that. My point being is there are some good ones out there still. And when they're good, you need to do your best to keep them good. Talk to them on the phone. Go to their town halls. Write them encouraging messages. If they're doing the right thing, you need to reiterate that. Because most of them, and I wanted to bring up Michigan Representative Jamie Thompson as an exception. Because almost all of them, many start off with evil, bad intentions. That's just period. But even the ones that start off with the best intentions, there's just a way this system just corrupts them. It really does. And a lot of them turn. And unfortunately, almost all of them turn on us. That's what happens. That's why so many of you are so pissed off and disenchanted with all of this. Because you're like, yeah, we voted these people in. We won, many of my viewers say. The trifecta, and they're almost all turning against us. It's just kind of the way it works, you know? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it sucks. I do want to give Representative Clyde a big shout out. I want to give Norman a big shout out and Chip Roy. They voted against the bill in committee because the Clyde Amendment had been removed. And they have other reasons too, but that's two of the stated reasons they said. Rescue Nut with channel member and a super chat says coffee refill. Well, thanks, man. And I am getting a little bit thirsty right now. I'll get the coffee later. Here's some cranberry juice that I make myself from pure unsweetened concentrate. Mike Reese, channel member and a super chat. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you, dude. Good to see all of you right now. He says, when the ones we pay want to take rights away, that's when we need to be aware. The iron fist falling. Anyone that thinks this is right in any way should leave our free country. Blessings to all. Well, God bless you too, man. And you're right. Thanks for reminding us of this. These people work for us, don't they? We literally pay their salary. Bill Campress, channel member, and a generous $20 super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Bill. He says, your efforts are appreciated, brother. Well, thank you. Dude, I'm super encouraged hanging out with all of you guys. You guys are the only reason I'm still here. Part of me is a little sheepish. I'm a little embarrassed to even get up here. It's like, dude, how many times are we trying to win and we try as hard as we can and then we don't win? So I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. Clearly, I kind of suck though, and all of us kind of do, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? I X'd my congressman, tweeted my congressman Wahlberg, brought up some salient points. I've actually ratioed him. My retweet has twice as many likes on it as my congressman tweet does. Go look at it. Add some more likes to my retweet of my congressman. Let's ratio the congressman even further. He's a Republican. He supports the Short Act and Hearing Protection Act back when they were in the House. However, I don't think we can get him to break away from passing this with him not in there. I'm trying to. But that's what it's called. I've ratioed my congressman on on X. And I'm actually have a very small X following, but I still did somehow. That's when you retweet somebody. And in this case, I was giving him encouragement, but calling him out all at once, if you know what I mean. But in a very polite way. Go read it yourself. I got more likes on my repost of his post than he did his post, meaning my opinion on it was a little more popular than his. Maybe these guys will listen. I'm trying. John Bobay with a $10 super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. He says, you have no idea what Michigan did to me. It's in the hands of the DOJ now. I pray they pay for framing me. Oh, geez, dude, that sucks, man. I hope whatever issue you're dealing with works out and that. Yeah, sorry to hear you're going through something crazy, man. That's tough. G Atlas, you're welcome, man. I'm going to jump off in a minute. It's about 6 o'clock. If you guys just joined the live stream, great. Glad to have you here. Just go back to the beginning of it, I guess. Let's go through one final update before we jump off, see if there's any more breaking news. I might have to come on later. I was hoping stuff would continue to break, but that's the deal. The House did vote down the Clyde Amendment, meaning as right now they're trying to cram through the budget bill as passed by the Senate, which does not repeal these items from the NFA or reduce the tax to zero. As we speak, the Fox of North Carolina amendment, agreeing to the amendment, it's a procedural hurdle because they screwed up and didn't put the right words in earlier. It's sitting here again in stasis, just sitting here with 216 yay votes to 212 nay votes. Two more of the non-voting Republicans have to come over and vote on this procedural hurdle before we'll be able to get to the final vote. I have a feeling I may be able to go cut my lawns at this rate before the vote starts. If the vote does start picking back up and it's the final vote, that's going to be the final tell-all, right? The final vote. We will come back live if you guys want me to. So let me know if you want me to come back live again later, if it's germane. That's where we're at right now. I'm going to go over here and check and see if I have any updates from Andrew Clyde or Chip Roy. This was interesting. Okay. Somebody had tweeted to Chip Roy, and this is why I'm telling you guys to tweet these people. They're all on X. Call, email if that's what you're into. Do all of it. Great. When you tweet them, though, they seem to be paying attention more to that in real time than they are the phone lines right now. So a guy named Patrick Trakal, just a couple hours ago, replied to Chip Roy and said, I hope that the Second Amendment changes NFA are top of your mind. Okay. And Andrew Clyde reposted this, but this is Chip Roy. Chip Roy retweeted it and said they are. So the person, this is where Twitter is complicated, but the person replying to Chip Roy said, I hope the Second Amendment changes NFA are top of your mind. Chip Roy responded and said they are. He posted that to his timeline. Representative Andrew Clyde. These are congressmen I'm talking about. The ones that could stop all this and force Clyde's amendment back in. He said they are at the top of his mind. Andrew Clyde. You've got Ralph Norman. Let me go through here. I'm just looking for any last updates at the very last second here, because as far as I know, we're still just sitting here waiting for this procedural snafu to go through. Yeah, go over there on my X timeline, guys, if you would. and give my post more likes. I want to see how much I can ratio my congressman just to show him that he needs to be one of the hardcore standouts. The one where I retweeted Representative Tim Walberg. It's not a big deal. You guys will see. My post only has like 15 likes on it, but I'm still ratioing the congressman who has like 8 likes on his. And he was basically saying, we must pass this one big, beautiful bill right now and, just do the status quo. And he is a Republican. He has had a good pro-Second Amendment voting record. However, right now he's doing what a lot of them are doing. And he's just sitting there saying, well, we just need to pass it. We just need to pass it right now. There's only a couple guys holding all of this up, just so you know. There's just a couple people in this whole country. Please do. Okay. Would anyone else like me to live stream later if there's stuff that pops up? What's happening, JJ? Hi, Vince. Nobody cares about a small business. We need to care about our small businesses. Small businesses are truly what makes America great. You're talking to a very small business owner right now, guys. That's what I do. I don't make a living on YouTube, obviously. I do appreciate all of your generous contributions today, though. This is what does help keep this grassroots channel going. You guys have noticed I haven't done any ad reads today. Oh, Mike Reese. He's a channel member, and he just gifted 10 2A Edu channel memberships. Wow, man. Thank you for the generous contribution. I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you to all of you who have contributed today with a little bit of financial support. Appreciate all of you. Okay, it's still a two vote short of passing the. I have to read this again. The amendment, on agreeing to the amendment, they're still sitting there 2 votes away. Let me check one more thing. I want to see what. Dude, Andrew Clyde did awesome testimony. Oh, wait, I got to show you guys this real quick. You'll think this is funny before we jump off. Now, this is really, really sad because this is like one of the most powerful people in Congress saying this. All right. Happy you have a business. Well, thanks for the good luck, man. Dude, I'm sitting there with one truck broke down right now outside. I have a tire I'm pumping air to on my lawnmower trailer. You know what I mean? That I need to change out. Like I put a plug in it and I'm pumping air in between every lawn. I do have a spare tire for it. I just need to get it put on. But yeah, man. Yep, I'm one day away from walking, just like a lot of you guys are. Trust me. The state of Michigan I live in absolutely sucks. The economy keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Let me go over here and see what. Oh, I want to show you this. This is actually like, wow. You hear this stuff, and it requires the listener to be dumber than the speaker. This is a short clip, but just like, whoa. Hopefully this comes through. This is the Democrat in this committee hearing last night, Rep. McGovern.
Combining a silencer and a concealable short-barreled rifle with easy-to-assemble and totally legal parts would allow people to convert them into untraceable, unregistered machine guns.
That came through really soft on my end. It's not my fault. It's just the way the audio is on the thing. Here's what he literally said. Combining a silencer and a concealed short-barreled rifle with easy-to-assemble and totally legal parts would allow people to convert them into untraceable, unregistered machine guns. He's saying if you combine the silencer with the short firearm, it converts it into an untraceable, unregistered machine gun. You can't even make this up.
Combining a silencer and a concealable short-barreled rifle with easy-to-assemble and totally legal parts would allow people to convert them into untraceable, unregistered machine guns.
Yep. So there you go. That's what your key Democrat on the committee just said. Yeah. He knew a lot about how stuff works. Very convincing. Oh, geez. All right, guys. Chip Roy is a talking head for rent. Is he? See, I mean, look, dude, I got people disillusioned against everything in here. All I know is Chip Roy did vote no on passing the Senate version in the committee. He put the vote in that we needed. Too bad one more person couldn't have voted with the 2A. That would have allowed the Clyde Amendment to stay in. Dude, I'm doing all right, JJ. I still got to go out and finish cutting grass today. But yeah, I mean, this just goes to show, you know. I mean, look. Yeah, Chip Roy's one that's standing right now. We'll see what happens in the end. I think the chances are very, very slim, but I will leave you with this. The only chance we really have at the moment of getting the full Hearing Protection Act and Short Act, which would repeal these items we've been talking about from the NFA, is this budget bill has to not pass the House today. And then it's still an uphill battle from there. It'll have to go back and get added back in. They'd have to have more committee hearings. Now, keep in mind, if the House changes it again, just like I said earlier, if the House changes even one period or one whatever from the Senate and they pass a different version, then it'll have to go back to the Senate yet again. And then the parliamentarian will have to rule on this same language that she previously struck out. She would have to rule on it again. The best we can hope for right now is an old-fashioned showdown. The odds are very slim. I'm going to tell you that right now. But where the House passes a different version that does have the Clyde Amendment language put back in, right? And then the parliamentarian's going to rule against it yet again. And then yet again, and I keep saying yet again because this could get very circular. And then yet again, we'd end up in a situation where Thune would have to either fire the parliamentarian or J.D. Vance would have to overrule the parliamentarian. Then the Senate would have to vote on the bill if all of that could happen somehow. And it would then have to pass through the Senate committees that they would have to hold it under. And then if it could somehow pass through that, it would have to go back to the Senate floor for a final vote. Now, if the Senate were to pass it then, exactly the way the House changed it to, not even moving so far as one period or one word in it, then it could go to Trump's desk. But if the Senate were to change one word or remove one comma, it would have to go back to the House yet again, where this whole process we're dealing with last night and today would have to start over. Did that make sense? Not meaning did it make sense as far as like to agree with it, but hopefully that made sense. That's where we're at right now. It would literally have to go. So, yeah, we have an inside chance of a gut shot straight, I guess, for all of you card players out there. It's not completely over, but we were dealt a big blow, not only by the Senate, the way they passed their version, removing the NFA repeal, and then we were dealt another blow with the House committee not allowing that Clyde Amendment in there last night. That was tough. All right. I don't know. Hopefully, people enjoy their day in the sun. Because look, you notice I've never told anyone how to vote. I've never told you to vote. I've never told you not to vote. Look, I used to tell you guys to vote. No, I'm not going to tell you to vote. I'm not going to tell you not to vote. This stuff is so messed up. I understand all sides of it, actually. I really do. And this is not me being a fence sitter. Do not mistake. No, like I literally understand all sides of it. I understand the no, we must press on. You must vote even harder. I understand all your arguments. I do, and I agree with them. But then I also do understand and also agree with the people that are like, dude, I'm tired of being played like a fool. I just don't care anymore. I actually understand both. And if you guys didn't watch my previous live stream the other day, I'm deciding right now if I'm ever going to vote again. I'm deciding. That's where I'm at right now. I'm about 50-50. There's convincing reasons to keep voting. There's convincing reasons just to check out, fly your Jolly Roger, become ungovernable, and say whatever. There's compelling arguments on both sides. I'm just sitting here thinking about it. But I will warn you all of this. I do think no matter what, I would recommend. And one more time, I'm not recommending anything. I want you all to do what you do, actually. I'm being serious. I get it, man. I get it. I get it. I get it. Vote harder. Don't vote at all. I actually understand both, believe it or not. And I probably just pissed off half of my viewers on each side by saying that. I get it. But I hope I didn't. I think a lot of you actually do understand what I'm saying, don't you? But regardless of what I think or what I recommend, I think we're going to see the Dems coming in, taking back over again pretty soon, especially in the House. I see a lot of Second Amendment supporters and gun owners just staying home. That's what I think is going to happen. I really do. Talked about primaries for a long time. I had Rich Cutshaw sitting right in this chair next to me here. Primary, at that time, the Michigan House Minority Leader Matt Hall, who then became the Michigan Speaker of the House. I had the Michigan Speaker of the House, Republican, that voted for gun control in the last session. I had his primary opponent sitting right here. I had a lot of viewers get mad at me. I lost a lot of subs. This channel isn't about the subs. I appreciate those of you that do. I'm about the Second Amendment. The more people with the Second Amendment, the better. But I'm not vain and need to see a high number behind my name. That's why this has continued to be a small channel. But I got a lot of pushback, man, from my viewers and my friends, whatever. They're like, dude, you put up the primary challenger on your show against the Speaker of the House? Well, yeah, because the Speaker of the House voted against gun control. So trust me, man, I get it. The damned if you do, damned if you don't. Every time it gets close to primary season, I'm like, go vote in your primaries, guys, so we don't have to have the lesser of two evils. It's always the most unpopular videos I do. No one watches them. Half the people that watch them are just there to heckle me. So, regardless, I just think that it's going to... If 2A sets, Chris Leonard says, the reps go home. The crap's really going to hit the fan. Dude, and trust me, I totally get it, guys. I do. I know someone's saying, but 2A EDU, if Democrats are much worse. Dude, on almost everything, Democrats are much worse. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat, guys. Yeah, I've said it so many times. The former Vice President Biden, I never called him president ever during 4 years. Did you guys notice that? When he was occupying the White House, I called him the current former vice president. Now I call him the former vice president. Worst president we've ever had, obviously. Kamala literally would have been the worst ever. Like, dude, I totally get it. That's why I'm just thinking about it. I might vote again. I might not. Michael, I lost the faith in government. Dude, I hear you, man. I do. I mean, for me, I have faith in Jesus, and that's not a consolation prize. That's the most important. I have faith in Jesus, and would like this world to be a better place though while I'm here. Yeah, man, go back to the beginning of the stream. I caught you up right away there. I've already kind of, broken all the news and gone over it a bunch of times. So just rewind back to the beginning, man. I got right to the chase. Good to see you here, though. Nice to see you. It looks like you're from Michigan as well. I just don't want to repeat. I've repeated myself probably 20 times just because it's a stream and people keep coming in. But I'm basically done with the stream. Just hanging out with my friends for a couple minutes. And then I'm going to go out and finish cutting grass. And who knows, man, I might be back on here in 3 hours. I mean, here's a last minute update. I know I keep saying I'm going to go away, but I need to get on that lawnmower. It's going to be dark in less than 3 hours. Yeah, right now they're still 2 votes short on the procedural hurdle because they messed up. They left part of it out earlier. The Fox of North Carolina Amendment on agreeing to the amendment. That's the last big procedural hurdle. They're still 2 votes short of getting that to pass. If this procedural hurdle passes, then there's going to be a floor vote supposedly today. And it does not include the Clyde Amendment. It does not include repealing these items from the NFA. Dude, Mr. H0661, that's why I'm here, man. And I want to thank all of you very sincerely for doing the same thing for me as what he just said. Thanks for everything you do. You help me stay sane. Yeah. Look, everything's a quid pro quo in life, and that's good if you're doing it for good reasons. And look, man, I'll tell you my advantages of doing this and what I hope's the advantage to you. I'm doing these live streams like right now. I could have broke the news in a 5-minute video, and that's what the first 5 minutes of this stream was. The reason why I'm hanging out right now still is for 2 reasons. What's in it for me? Well, I get to hang out with all of you and stay sane. What's in it for you guys? I hope you guys get to hang out in this live chat with all of you today and staying sane. I'm so disenchanted with government right now, it's not even funny. Am I surprised at any of this, though? Of course not. I study and read and try to keep myself rejuvenated constantly reading the founding documents, which predicted all of this. But at the same time, even though none of us are surprised, of course we're not surprised, but it still sucks, though. It still sucks. Yeah. Well, I agree with you. The magnetic fisherman, I hate to bear bad news, but it still needs told. You're welcome, Chris. Girl Carpenter, what's happening? How you doing? Came in from the chainsaw to see what's going on. Well, hopefully you just heard my last minute summary. Sorry to repeat myself so many times, everybody that's live and those that are watching on replay. This is just how these live streams work. It's evolving. And man, I've seen so many good people coming into the chat tonight. Girl Carpenter, man, I met him in real life, guys, in Indiana at Marksman Shooting Sports. Just reading this chat, I can see there's so many smart people in here, like obviously. And over the years, I've actually just met a lot of you guys randomly in real life. I guess even though Congress keeps screwing us over, I guess that's why it's still worth doing this channel, because I know there's lots of real people in here and you guys are real people. And for the most part, actually, I'd say everyone I've seen tonight looks like good people in the chat. I haven't really seen anybody trolling or anything at all today, if you think about it. Yeah, J-Rod says, call your reps and demand they do not vote to get the reconciliation bill passed unless the HPA and Short Act get put back in the bill. It's all or nothing, F that. That's been the line I've been going with this the whole time right now. And they're still voting on a procedural hurdle. These congressmen are tweeting right now, guys. Call and write, but tweet them. You know what I mean? They're literally in real time. That's why sometimes I look off the screen because I'm like, all right, what's Thomas Massey saying? It's happening in real time. It's not completely over, man. Eugene Morris Stoner with a generous $20 super chat. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I don't see a message. Maybe it got cut off, or maybe you're just throwing a tip out there, but thank you. I appreciate the support, man, and definitely helps keep the channel going. I am kind of forgoing my lawns right now to do this, but it's worth it, and I'm glad I'm doing it. Thank you, Eugene. Christine says, F an awesome show today, brother. Crappy news, but either way, we thank you so much for all you do. Sincerely, much love. Well, thank you. Oh, that's like one of the nicest things anyone said in a long time, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow. That was a really nice comment, wasn't it? I mean, I take lots of daggers doing these videos too, but I do like nice people, and it's nice when somebody says something like that. Giant meteor. Yeah, that is a giant looking meteor. Ooh, that's scary looking at your avatar. Ooh, mailboxes are full. Wait a minute. We're filling up their mailboxes again. Just fill up their mailboxes. Just do it. Just make those interns earn their wages. You know what I'm saying? What's up, California? Justin Hernandez. Fluffy, there he is, man. How you doing? He says, I had to meet you at goals. And you're only 30 minutes or less away from me. Okay, so we're a half hour away, guys. Go figure. And we met down in Knoxville, Tennessee in real life, right? Irish Rover in Florida. What's happening, man? Thanks for being a channel supporter. This is spicy. Wow. Did you guys see what he just typed? Ooh. Ooh, that's a spicy take, man. That's hotter than a firecracker on the 4th of July. Glad you guys are keeping some of your humor. Did you see what he said there? Wow. That is funny, though. Ooh. Wait a minute, Duke. What's this? He says, Diddy got free before we got our gun rights squared away. Dude, did Diddy just get freed? Was he found innocent? Dude, is that true? Wow. Wait, let me look into this. Did Diddy? I'm not keeping track of Diddy right now. Diddy, I mean, dude, if this is ironic, dude, I believe you, man. I just need to check here and see if is there breaking news on this. Ooh, Sean Diddy Combs was acquitted on the most serious charges against him, but was found guilty on the 2 lesser charges. Dude, my man, you were. No, look, no, he's right though. Look, he might not be free right now, but no, you are right. Like, I totally get what you're saying. Dude, he just got acquitted before our Second Amendment got acquitted. Wow. That's kind of profound, actually. Wow. I haven't been following that trial at all. Bill Campers, look at 2A EDU blushing. Well, I don't know. It was a nice comment, man. I like nice people. Why not? Too many mean people out there. Corruption at its finest. Diddy. Oh, yeah, I get it. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to go cut some grass. Good to see all of you. I hope under the miserable circumstances we got to hang out. We had a decent time, like as close to a good time as we could, considering and stuff. But I might be back on here later. I might not. But the final wrap is we're still sitting there 2 votes shy of the Fox of North Carolina amendment on agreeing to the amendment. This procedural vote must pass. Then they'll be able to vote on the full bill. As of right now, the Clyde Act is out of the House version. The House is frantically attempting to pass the Senate version, which is the $0 tax, which would not remove the silencer suppressor, short barrel rifle, short barrel shotgun, and AOW from the NFA. I take that as a loss, and the chances are very grim, but things are technically not over yet. I will check the oil in my mower before I fire it up. Thanks for reminding me. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. You guys are being so funny in the chat. I couldn't even do my little sign off.